Hey everybody, I'm going to be doing another off-the-cuff video just because enough of you requested it. So this is my gift to you. So I'm going to start off with this question by a guy whose name I cannot pronounce, so I'm just going to put it below. I'm so sorry about that. But we were talking online and he said, I was thinking about, what about exploring us as human beings, where we are right now in this weird time, what with the state of flux in the world seems to be right now. It feels like we are connected because of all the technology we seem to have at our disposal. But even notice how, like many people, when they attend social gatherings, maybe music festivals or even on holiday, they seem more obsessed with documenting every aspect of that particular moment or event for social media instead of actually taking in and experiencing the moment right there. I'd like to hear your views on that sort of topic. That and just mental illness and depression, how it feels like we all need more natural positive things in our life. Thanks again. Great topic, fantastic, very, very relevant, obviously, right now. And this is something that's bothered me for years. I'm sure it has bothered everybody on some level. It's like when we were kids, we would watch so many of those like dystopian future movies or TV shows or read books. It just seems like everything's going to hell because of technology, artificial intelligence, all that sort of thing. And I just remember thinking as a kid, what if we do become slaves to technology, slaves to this new social media platform? And I think we're pretty much there. I really don't know. I mean, if it was gone, you know, all of a sudden society would crumble. And I go to a lot of music festivals and I go to a lot of music concerts. And it is just a really weird phenomenon. I don't think I will ever get used to it. The idea of so many people just like holding up their phones. And I get it, you know, for maybe a song or two, but for the entire concert, that's all you see. And it is kind of disturbing. You know, you pay all this money to go see a performer that you love. You are paying to see them live, and yet you would rather record it on a device and watch it later. And I think that just kind of feeds into just the kind of complexity of human beings. We are very contradictory in that sense, because what we need is often what we don't want. What we need is to live in the moment. That to me is like one of the most important life lessons you can teach a person. Because so often people do not do that. It's very rare. But when you do, you realize how precious life is. But I feel like especially phones and things of that nature are taking all of that away. Phones and just being connected to social media all the time is toxic. But we enjoy that toxicity because, number one, we're drawn to a sense of destruction, I think. But also because we like to take the easy way out. We'd rather live vicariously through this, like, you know, this cyber world rather than experience it. It's almost like we're enveloping ourselves in this, like, this digital cocoon. It keeps us in control, or so we think it does. I think that the human experience is about process, not payoff, and yet all we want is payoff. We don't want to have to go through what it is to get to what we want. And technology just makes that easy, to just do what you want without having to work for it. And that doesn't make a fully formed, fully dimensional human being in my eyes, and I don't think in anybody's eyes. Unconsciously, we link doing things, going through the motions of doing things, to the payoff, which makes the payoff that much more sweet. We need to experience feelings in order to have that big euphoric moment, that enlightenment in the end of it. So if we don't experience all of that leading up to it, then really what's the point of anything? I think it's so important to experience sadness. And, you know, I said this in a video a while back, that our world doesn't want us to feel pain. We just want everything to be happy all the time and perfect. But that to me is not healthy. I think it's important to experience sadness, to experience loneliness in particular. And that is the main thing to me, is what these phones are taking away. Because if you're just sitting there and you're lonely, you can just pull out your phone and text whoever you want, or you can, you know, send out something on Twitter or Facebook, and all of a sudden you feel validation. And the ironic part is that it makes you even more lonely, even though you think it's making you kind of, you know, get some sort of validation. It's temporary fulfillment. And it also allows you to just kind of say what you want to say and not have to watch what everybody else is doing. So Like, for instance, when people break up with other people by text, or, you know, something like that is not a good thing. We are losing the ability to feel things in terms of reaction. And what I mean by that is, like, for instance, if you write a really mean comment on somebody's YouTube channel or something, and you're like, oh, I hope you die, you're so ugly and fat, I don't know, something like that. Lots of people do that, obviously. You can just, you know, click comment, and you don't have to be held accountable for your actions. You literally just click it, you laugh, and you go about your day. You don't have to see the other person's reaction. You don't have to see their feelings hurt. And so you are kind of cheapening that feeling. You don't have to feel guilt, and you don't have to feel pain as a result of your own actions. That's also a very destructive thing. And the idea that you can click a button in just one motion and, you know, buy a book on Amazon, but with the same click of a button, you can also, a bomb can go off on the other side of the world, but just with one motion. So our minds don't kind of make the connection between the two. So they're both just as easy. That is really scary, and it worries me for the future. And I'm not trying to say like I'm holier than thou. I'm guilty of this too. I'm a millennial, obviously. Look, I've got Twitter and I've got Facebook and all of those things, and I'm telling you this on a platform in which I'm sort of criticizing in a sense. And I don't think the internet is bad. I'm very grateful for YouTube, and I'm grateful for a lot of things. I think there's positivity for sure because of the internet, but I also think that we overdo it a lot. We're very much a country that is based on excess, and we need to learn to just kind of tone it down a little bit. Learn to take these things in moderation, myself included. It's really hard though, because like for me, what I do for a living, I work at a computer all day long. So I have access to Facebook and all of these trending news stories all the time. And it's just bam, bam, bam. It's always hitting you, and it can be overwhelming and exhausting. And I think a lot of that is a big reason why people get anxiety and depression. So I think there are a lot of ways in which you can kind of make things better for yourself mentally. And, you know, I'll just tell you a few of them. For me, at least what I do. I'm not saying you have to do these, but this is just what I do. Number one, and I know this is a controversial one, and I've mentioned it before, but for me, the psychedelic experience is huge in terms of my own personal fulfillment. And I'm not supposed to advocate that. It is highly illegal, and you've got to be really careful. If you don't have any experience in that sort of thing, you want to do it with a person, you know, if you're going to do it. But for me personally, I think it's very important in helping you kind of sort out your demons, kind of face things that you never thought you would, and it puts life in perspective in a way that you can't, it's very, very, very hard to experience any other way. So I'm a big proponent of that in moderation if you keep it under control, and that's a big one. We're seeing all kinds of different news stories about how, you know, depression and PTSD is being cured by ayahuasca, DMT, LSD, psilocybin mushrooms, all of that sort of thing. So I really do hope that we get to see more of that and people use it more for medicinal purposes and for personal enrichment. But if you don't do that sort of thing, for me, meditation is huge. That is one of the best ways to clear your mind and help you find focus. Because as I said, things are just coming at you all the time, especially in this world. It's so, so fast, and it's not meant to be that fast. We need to stop for a second and just experience things, or just, you know, just experience boredom. I feel like we don't do that anymore because we always have a device at our fingertips where we can just do anything, search for anything. You need to learn to find that time to be alone, because that is going to help you be a stronger human being. And in my case, I love meditation. Well, I shouldn't say I love it. I love the result of it when I work at it. It's not easy. It takes a lot of practice and it takes a lot of discipline. But if you can do that, you will find yourself you'll have a better center of balance, and you'll feel just more, you're just more centered. You just have more calmness. You're focused. You think through your thoughts in a much easier way. You find your stress levels go down. If you can do that, and maybe even meditate in an isolation tank is ideal. I mean, that's what I do when I can. I love that. Another one is to go outside. You hear doctors all the time talk about if you're depressed, you take an antidepressant. You take all of these drugs that are prescribed, which for me, I'm not really a big fan of prescription drugs. I myself was on antidepressants at a certain point and anti-anxiety medication. You know, for me, I feel like, yes, it can help to a certain point. It helps you keep yourself under control a little bit better, but it does not get to the root of the problem at all. If anything, it just kind of dulls it, which to me is not getting rid of the problem. It's just kind of ignoring it. And I think that if more doctors were more willing to say things like, you know, why don't you try writing? Why don't you try drawing? Why don't you try doing something that you love? It will help you through it, especially art. Like if you are an artist, or even if you're not, if you like to draw, if you like to just kind of, I don't know, you like to write poetry, whatever it is, take photographs, do it, because it's so therapeutic. Art is one of the most therapeutic things you can do because you're expressing what's, you know, deep inside yourself. And by doing that, it's like you're sorting out your demons. In a way, art is very much like a drug. I've felt that in a lot of ways because you're exploring so many dimensions of yourself and the world. You're learning to understand the world better. So I wish more doctors would be willing to say more of those things. For me, myself, if I'm going to share a personal story, I'll make it real quick, but I've experienced some very, very, very bad depression, very dangerous depression and suicidal tendencies in the past, to the point where, like, I couldn't eat, I couldn't walk, I couldn't do anything, I couldn't talk. But if once I finally got the strength to take a few steps out the door, just by experiencing sunlight, I just feel a little jolt of electricity in me, just a little bit of something. And it, like, rejuvenation in a sense. Nature is one of the best medicines you can find because it's natural. And it really does help you find that peace. And just by seeing trees, hearing birds chirping, I promise you, there's something very calming about that that helps you kind of work through things at a very basic level, but I promise it helps. So go outside, take a walk, stay away from your phone for however long. Do things that are going to personally enrich your life and help your mind expand. You know, seeking higher knowledge to me is very important. And I know I may get flack for some of the things that I personally like to do, but I promise you, the internet is far more addictive than any psychedelic drug or anything like that. And again, I think things are fine in moderation, but that's the thing that we don't often understand. Balance is the most important thing you can teach yourself to kind of help yourself get through life. So the next time that you are feeling really, really happy, don't take a video of yourself and post it on Instagram for later about how happy you were so you can always remember it, because you're never going to get that moment back. And while you're too busy texting or, you know, doing whatever, talking about how great of a time you're having, you're missing out on that moment. I mean, even like right now, if I go now, that moment is gone. You'll never get it back. But yet you will spend the rest of your life trying to recapture that moment that just passed rather than living in the moment. So the next time you're happy, experience that moment for a second. Just for a moment. Experience it and appreciate it. And when you're sad, be by yourself. Maybe meditate, draw, do something, and let yourself feel sad. Let yourself cry. There's nothing wrong with emotion. That's another thing that no one seems to understand in this world. I shouldn't say no one, but I should say the ideal society, the fantasy society that we seem to hold on this pedestal, seems to think that that's not healthy, but it is. It's very healthy. Just be careful about how you work out those demons, but you need to experience it. Make yourself well-rounded and less of a person that is just clicking and doing this and that and getting the answers automatically, because answers shouldn't arrive so quickly. But yeah, I mean, that's just kind of a quick overview. I mean, I could talk about this subject for hours probably, but you know, that's a quick video, hopefully touching on a lot of points that are in the question. Thank you for the question. If anybody has any other ones, you are welcome to ask and I might answer them. As always, if you'd like to follow me on Twitter, the link is below, and you can also like my Facebook page and the link below that. Catch you next time.